So really quick before we get to the video here, I'm going to tell everybody what happened. I'm at work today. My wife is in the hospital. She gets a call, actually multiple calls from WOW Cable. I have a utility pole in my backyard. WOW Cable stated that they were going to enter the backyard with the aid of the police. First of all, the driver lied. He said somebody was in the house. He could see somebody peeking out the window, which is an absolute lie. Nobody was here. He said he could tell somebody, he could hear somebody telling the dogs to shut up. He could see somebody peering out the window at him. And he told my wife that it's common that the police come and cut the lock off your back gate, which is about the most unconstitutional thing I've ever heard in my life. So luckily I work 8 minutes from my house. The worker was still here. I flew home as quickly as I could, confronted the worker. He knew I wasn't really happy. I asked for a supervisor's number, threatening my wife to call the police and have the lock cut off my gate. Police are not allowed on your property without a warrant. They're definitely not allowed in your backyard. I actually talked to the police, and I'm going to show you that as soon as I show you this dolt that I talked to at WOW Cable that seems to think they have the right to enter your property illegally and have the police come aid them by cutting a lock off your fence. So I came home. I did allow the worker access to do his job, and I let him know I wasn't really happy. I demanded his supervisor's number. And here's the conversation of what happened. This is unbelievable to me. Who does WOW think they are where they can get away with something like this? Here's the conversation I had with this idiot supervisor.
Hello?
Yeah, is this WT?
Speaking.
Yes, this is Randy Koltick. You guys just chased me out of work to come home and open the door for someone who apparently lied and said somebody was at the house telling my dogs to be quiet. And you're coming back with the police to break down my gate?
Not your door, your gate.
Pardon me?
Somebody said somebody. No one would say they was coming to break down your gate to get into your yard, but we will call the police and get the lock so they can cut the lock if the pole is in your yard.
So I guess my question is, who does WOW think they are where they can come have my lock cut on my gate? Because I'll tell you what, that's a hell of a...
It's a utility pole, so we have the right to get access to it.
Okay. Well, wouldn't it make sense to call maybe 2 days ahead of time and say somebody needs to be at a house at a particular time rather than chasing me home from work?
Well, I mean, that would have to be up to your neighbors who call for the appointment. That's not us.
Okay, well, you have my wife's phone number, obviously, who's in the hospital right now, who you told that...
Well, what happened is when my guy went there, he seen that it had a green tag. He said, can you call and see if this person is still here? Do we still have a number for him? So he was doing a good thing to try to contact you guys before we called the police. So he wasn't doing it back then. We was trying to do the good thing to call you guys before we called the police out to cut the lock.
I'll tell you what, you guys do not have the right to do that. This is my property. That's trespassing. I mean, you have to give me notice to know that somebody has to be here. I had to leave work to come home and like I said, if someone breaks in my backyard, that's a good way to get shot, to be honest, or get bit by a dog.
Well, we won't be doing it. The police are doing it, so you guys be shooting the police.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. The police don't have any extra rights either. That's trespassing.
Right. But I'm just saying. I mean, you guys. I mean, we.
Without a warrant, sir, I don't think you understand the law is the problem. Without a warrant, the police are not allowed on my property either.
Yeah, okay.
You have to have a warrant to have the police come on. You know, you guys could call a couple days ahead of time and warn somebody that you're going to be out at this time and somebody could be home.
Like I said, you barking up the wrong tree. If you want to bark at somebody, bark at your neighbors who made an appointment because they was having issues with their service.
Well, to be honest, I'm ready to bark at WOW headquarters in general. I'm calling the Better Business Bureau, and I'm calling my friends at the governor's office to actually talk to them about this. This is ridiculous.
Okay.
You guys or the police are trespassing on my property without giving me some sort of warning somebody has to be here. I understand there's a utility pole in my backyard, and like your driver...
I mean, we didn't trespass or anything. We called you guys.
Well... Your driver or somebody lied then. Somebody lied.
Honestly, we was trying to be the good guys to call you guys to see if somebody would come and open the gate.
Well, no, like I said, a courtesy call is giving somebody, at least 24 hours notice somebody needs to be here at a certain time. And like I said...
Sir, if they gave us that thing in the morning, we don't know who called for an appointment. So how should we call you guys 24 hours beforehand?
Well, then you know what? You have to tell. Then
that customer can call in the morning and set up a job. When we get out there, we don't know where his home is at.
Okay, well, wouldn't it make better business sense then to tell the customer, well, yeah, the pole unfortunately is in your neighbor's yard. You might have to wait a day until we can get a hold of the person to get in their backyard to set up your service, rather than calling my wife in the hospital saying the police are coming to cut the lock on my gate. That's trespassing. Sir, you're talking to.
Like I said, we were trying to be the good guys.
Well, no, that's not being a good guy. Is not chasing me out of work. It's trespassing. I don't think you understand the law.
We don't, honestly, sir, we don't know where you guys are at.
You're talking to someone who's very schooled on law, and that is trespassing. That is against the law, whether it's the police or you guys. I don't have a problem with workers. I don't have a problem with workers getting in my backyard with proper notice. But, chasing me home from work and threatening me with the police cutting the lock on my gate I have a major problem with that. And I seriously, I'm seriously taking this to the highest authority I can find. I have a major problem with this. You're talking to somebody that's very schooled on the law. And what you guys are doing is absolutely breaking the law. And if the police broke my lock and came back there, they'd be breaking the law as well. Police do not have extra rights. The badge on their chest does not grant them extra rights.
I hear exactly what you're saying, but okay. I mean, I'm not trying to argue with you.
I'm saying in the future, you should bring up the fact that, this is bullshit when somebody has to come home from work, bothering my wife in the hospital and threatening me with the police. I have a problem with that. I really do. And like I said, I plan on taking this to the highest authority possible.
I mean, you have all that right. I mean, like I said, I'm not here to argue. I'm not trying to argue.
And like I said, I don't appreciate the fact of the driver lying and saying somebody was in the house yelling at the dogs to shut up. Because nobody was home, as he saw when I came flying up the driveway here. My wife's in the hospital. I was at work. Nobody was here telling the dogs to shut up. There was nobody home. Nobody warned us that anybody needed to get in the backyard, and I have a major problem with this.
Well, like I said, as far as, while we have no issues as far as calling you guys, that's why we tried to...
And I have no issue with letting somebody in my backyard.
I mean, but you're yelling at me like I do 30 hours or 24 hours ago that the company knows that you get in your yard. When your neighbors call us for an appointment. So you guys need to call and talk to your neighbors. Like, if you guys need an appointment, if your line comes to my yard, please call me.
How is this the neighbor's problem, though? This is your service that you know where the poles are. You know where the poles are. You don't know where your poles are for a service that you run. You don't know where your poles are.
Until we get out there.
That's a level of that's just a level of ineptness that I've never even heard before. That you don't know where your poles are.
We do not know where the poles are. We do not own the poles. ETG owns the poles.
Yeah, I own the property, and I own the property that the pole is on.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Like I said, you walking up the wrong tree. Like I said, we're trying to be the good guy and call you guys to let you know you got access to the yard.
You guys are an utterly inept service. I'm so glad I canceled my service with you guys. I really am.
That's fine, sir. Like I said, you're yelling at the wrong person.
That's great. I'll take it. I'll take it to the next level then. Okay. You have a great day. Okay. All right. Bye bye. Okay, again, so WOW apparently thinks they have the authority to illegally enter your backyard with the aid of the police. No warrant. They can just, they're WOW cable. They can come cut the lock off your gate if they need to get back there. Not on my watch. So after that, I called the police in my city, and I questioned him just to see if this was something common that the police did. And I think you'll see from this conversation, the officer very much agreed with me.
What's that, Police Officer Tischendorf?
Yes, officer. I wonder if you could answer some questions for me. Earlier today, while at work, my wife called me, who happens to be in the hospital right now, stating that WOW cable. See, I have a utility pole in my backyard. The driver called his supervisor and said somebody was in the house and wouldn't, they saw him peeking out the window and telling the dogs to shut up, which was an absolute lie. Nobody was here except for my dogs. And basically, they blew up my wife's phone at the hospital, telling her that they were going to call the police to come cut the lock off my back gate to get into my backyard, and nobody was here.
Who was at your house? DD or something?
WOW cable.
Oh, WOW cable?
Have you ever heard of such a thing where an officer would come cut a lock off somebody's gate?
No, I've never heard of that.
I was curious because, I mean, that's about as unconstitutional as it gets. And I don't know if they were just trying to scare us into, like I said, basically the driver, he lied and said somebody was in the house. He could hear somebody telling the dogs to shut up. And he saw someone peering out the window, which is an absolute lie because I was at work. And like I said, my wife's in the hospital. We're the only two that live here. And, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with letting workers get back there to get to the utility pole. But like I said, my wife's been in the hospital for the last week, and he scared the heck out of her, saying, they're calling the police and they're going to come cut the lock off my gate and just enter my property. And that sounds about as illegal as it gets to me. And I was just curious if you guys have ever, if the Westland Police Department would actually come out and cut a lock off somebody's gate, without a warrant.
We definitely wouldn't do that. I mean, we definitely wouldn't do that. I mean, I have some cable stuff in my backyard too, but there's not a fence on the side of my house. But there wouldn't be a situation where we would just cut a lock off somebody's own backyard.
I didn't think so.
I mean, we would tell them, hey, you gotta, contact the owner and let them know when you're coming, because we can't just. There's no reason we're just going to cut a lock off for them to then go back there.
Yeah, this guy, I mean, he basically made it sound like I should be mad at the neighbors for not notifying me that they ordered cable from the, and I said, how the heck are you guys pinning this on the neighbor, that they ordered cable service from your company? And I told the guy the same thing. I said, I don't mind I understand I have a utility pole in my backyard, and I'm sure from time to time people are going to need to get back there, but give me 24 hours notice is all I ask. Leave me a notice saying somebody needs to be here between this time, and I would have made sure, that they were accommodated. But yeah, like I said,
what I would do is, I would contact WOW Cable and make a complaint against that particular driver, because unless somebody, I mean, as far as him saying somebody was in your house, that sounds like it was completely false.
Oh, it absolutely was.
If he doesn't report it to us, I'm not obviously reporting something false is a crime in itself.
Yeah.
But unless you call 911, it was like, hey, somebody's breaking into this house.
Right.
And we show up there and it's complete, bullshit. And he's like, oh, by the way, I need to get in the backyard. That's
right.
A different story, because that's misuse of 911 and found some kind of false police thing. But it sounds like he may have just told you that. He didn't contact us saying that. So
yeah.
So to answer your question, no, we would never cut the lock off and go in your backyard.
Yeah, good. I
would contact WOW and be like, it's way out of line what he did.
Exactly.
They'll know the driver's name and they'll talk to him and maybe you can get some answers.
Yeah, I actually have the supervisor's name as well. I appreciate that. I feel much more assured knowing that Westland Police aren't going to come out and just, that would absolutely be illegally entering somebody's property without a warrant, of course. And and I doubt the police are going to go to a judge and get a warrant to help WOW Cable get back there to get in my backyard. So that sounded a little far fetched, and I just wanted to double check to make sure this is something that Westland Police don't regularly do, or
No, we would never do that. Now, if we showed up and there was maybe somebody actually in your house, then yeah, we would maybe go in the backyard and figure out who's there. You know what I mean? But
right.
Just for no reason whatsoever, we wouldn't do that.
I'm getting the feeling he was just maybe trying to intimidate my wife into, letting him go back there. So that's almost what it sounds like. But hey, I appreciate the help very much. Okay.
No problem. Have a good night.
Thanks, officer.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Tell WOW Cable to suck it if they ever call you. Do not do business with this company. I plan on taking this as high as I possibly can. I'm complaining with the Better Business Bureau. Anybody else I can possibly think of, anyone that can direct me in any Better Business Bureau, any direction they can direct me in, I'm gonna take this to the highest authority possible. I have a major problem with this. WOW Cable is I'll keep it clean. Don't do business with these people. For the record, I do not even have service with these people either.